Before we begin tonight's meeting, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the recent passing of Councillor Ian Oakley, who was a councillor for the authority from its inception in 1974 until 1986. Councillor Oakley was also a member of one of the constituencies authorities prior to 1974. I invite everyone present to join me in observing a minute's silence as we reflect on the life and contribution for the people of North Tyneside. Thank you. Item 1 on the agenda tonight is apologies. I have apologies from Councillor Ian Grayson, Councillor Hannah Johnson, Councillor Brian MacDonald, Councillor Liz McMullen, and Councillor Louise Bell. Is there any other apologies? Thank you, Councillor. Sorry.
Councillor Joe Craven.
Councillor Priggott.
Councillor Lewis Bartoli, Chair.
Councillor Tricia Newman. Tricia Newman? Blending two councillors together. Sorry, Tricia Neera.
That's quite all right. It's a pleasure to see somebody else get it wrong because I'm so used to doing it. Thank you. Item 2 is the declarations of interest. Members are asked to declare any registrable or non-registrable interests and any relevant dispensations which have been granted in relation to any matters appearing on the agenda. Those members should also complete the card and return it to the Democratic Service Office. Councillor Bones.
I am on the pay policy. A member of my family works for the authority.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Item number 5, a member of my family works for the authority.
Councillor Mulvaney.
I'm not quite sure how many work for the authority. Well, it's quite a few.
Councillor Bunyan.
Yeah, a member of my family works for North Tyneside Council.
Thank you. Sorry, Councillor Julie.
Also have family members employed by the council, and just for good order's sake, I'm the sister of the elected mayor.
Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. On agenda item 5, my father works for North Tyneside Council.
Right, thank you. Item 4 is the items of minutes. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Swansea. Right. Sorry, item 3 is the recognition of long service. Can I invite the elected mayor to acknowledge elected members who have served on more than 20 years on North Tyneside Council?
Thank you, Chair. This evening, I had the great honour of marking something truly special, recognising and celebrating those colleagues who have dedicated over 20 years of service to North Tyneside Council and its residents. Reaching this milestone is a remarkable achievement. It represents decades of commitment to public service and of putting our residents at the heart of everything we do. It is only right that we acknowledge that contribution. We all know that local government is not always easy. It demands resilience, patience, and a deep belief in community. Our long-serving members have given all of that and much more. Over the last 2 decades, and for some even longer, you have witnessed and helped to shape extraordinary change in our borough, including transformation of our town centres, continued regeneration of our coastline, improvements in education, social care, housing and the environment, and the many challenges we have faced together, from economic pressures to global events none of us could have predicted. Through it all, you've shown unwavering dedication to the residents you represent. You've listened to their concerns, championed causes, and worked tirelessly to make North Tyneside a better place to live, work, visit, and thrive. On behalf of North Tyneside Council and on behalf of our residents, I want to offer my sincere thanks to Councillor Brian Burdis, Councillor Steve Cox, Councillor Eddie Dark, Councillor John Harrison, Councillor Janet Hunter, Councillor Nigel Huscroft, Councillor Frank Lott, Councillor Tommy Mulvenna, Councillor Bruce Pickard, and Councillor Joan Walker. Your service has helped shape this borough. Your advocacy has made a difference to countless families. Your leadership across our committees, our wards, our communities has strengthened the foundations of local democracy. So this evening, I want to thank you for the evenings spent in committee meetings, the enquiries and emails answered late at night, the doorstep conversations and all manner of weather, and the commitment you have shown day in and day out. Thank you for your time, your energy, your belief in North Tyneside and the difference you've made in our borough. Thank you.
So John Johnson, I believe. So John Johnson, I believe you would like to add something.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Chair. Just to follow on from what the Mayor said tonight, I would like to congratulate all the councillors who received their certificates for long service this evening. I think anybody who puts themselves forward for public office quickly learns that the role requires patience, resilience, problem-solving skills, and above all, a very thick skin. While we may sometimes have very different political views in this chamber, what unites us all is a shared passion for this borough and the communities that we serve. As we approach the May elections, we may see some politics becoming a little bit more heated and perhaps even a little bit more divisive. But evenings like the one the Mayor hosted tonight remind us that whatever our political differences are, what ultimately brings us together is a shared commitment to the borough and the people that we serve. 20 years or more of service is a huge commitment, often alongside work, family life and everything else that life throws at us. So it's right that we recognise it tonight. I'd like to mention 2 councillors in particular. Tommy Mulvenna, who kindly showed me around the Civic Centre when I was very first elected as councillor and helped me find my feet, which is no small task in a building like this. And Bruce Pickard, who served this council for an incredible 43 years. That's a remarkable commitment to public life, and Bruce's knowledge and experience of this authority are second to none. So to Bruce, Tommy and to every councillor receiving recognition tonight, thank you for the many years of service to the people of North Tyneside and for sticking with the job long enough to earn yourselves one of those certificates. Congratulations.
Right, thank you. Now it comes to item 4. The next item is the minutes of the meetings held on 29th of January and the 12th of February 2026. Can I ask the council to confirm those minutes? Thank you. Now go to item 5. Item 5 is North Tyneside Council Pay Policy for 2026-27. Can I ask Councillor Anthony McMullen to move the recommendations in this report?
Thank you, Chair. Council is asked to consider the pay policy statement for 2026-27, which is included as Appendix 1 of this report. Under the Localism Act 2011, it is a legal requirement for the authority to publish a pay policy statement before the 31st of March each year. The purpose of this statement is to set out the authority's policies on a range of pay matters regarding to the workforce. The authority understands the importance of openness and transparency in setting pay which is fair, consistent and equitable across the workforce. It is also vital that the authority can demonstrate value for money, particularly around the roles that senior leaders play in the organisation. The attached pay policy outlines the current practices in the authority on pay and grading structures, job evaluation, and policies and terms and conditions in relation to the remuneration and payment to chief officers. In determining the pay and remuneration of all of its employees, the authority complies with all relevant employment legislation. The key areas for the Council to note about the pay policy 2026-27 is that the median average salary is £30,825, which is in line with our forecasts. The pay multiple stays at the same ratio of 1 to 6, and the majority of North Tyneside Council employees are part of the Green Book Terms and Conditions. And the current pay scale is contained within Appendix A of this policy, and there will be a new pay scale effective from the 1st of April 2026. But this has not yet been agreed as negotiations are happening at a national level and they are still continuing. Any increase will be backdated to the 1st of April 2026 when agreed. The new pay scale from the 1st of April 2026 will also delete spinal column point 2, which is currently grade 2 in the local authority. This means all employees that are on spinal column point 2 will move to spinal column point 3 on the 1st of April 2026. I ask Council to approve the recommendations as set out in this report.
Thank you, Councillor. Do you have a seconder?
Second, reserve the right, Chair.
Are there any questions to the report? Any comments? Councillor Johnson? No. In that case, I'll move to the vote. Is that unanimous? Yep, thank you. We now move to item 6, Safer North Tyneside Community Safety Partnership Strategy. Can I ask Councillor Sandra Graham to move the recommendations in this report?
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to seek Council's approval for the review of the Safer North Tyneside strategy. The authority is required to produce a strategy to set out the priorities of the Safer North Tyneside partnership in the coming 4-year period. The current strategy has been in place since 2019. Safer North Tyneside is our statutory community safety partnership. North Tyneside remains one of the safest places to live in the North East, but we are ambitious for an even better North Tyneside. The partnership works on the principle that no single agency can address all drivers of crime and antisocial behaviour, and that effective partnership working is vital to ensuring safer communities and a place we can all be proud of. The partnership is required by legislation to have a community safety strategy in place. It sets out an overarching framework to reduce crime and disorder in the coming years. The draft strategy has been developed by the 5 responsible authorities of the Safer North Tyneside Partnership and is informed by the elected mayor's priorities, taking into account the Police and Crime Commissioner's priorities, and also takes into account data from the recent Strategic Needs Assessment. 4 new priorities have been identified, which centre around tackling neighbourhood crime and antisocial behaviour, tackling domestic abuse and violence against women and girls, reducing serious violence and organised crime, and promoting community cohesion and resilience. This strategy was subject to a 6-week consultation exercise which included residents, local businesses, as well as all councillors and MPs. In accordance with the authority's budget and policy framework, the draft strategy was endorsed by Cabinet at its meeting on the 16th of February 2026. And I ask Council to approve option 1 contained within section 1.6 of this report. Thank you, Chair.
Do you have a seconder?
Second, and reserve the right to speak, Chair.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Johnson?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Graham, for your report and your update there. In the report itself, it describes there's been a borough-wide consultation, yet there's only been 46 responses were received from across North Tyneside. Given the scale of the strategy and its importance to resident safety, does the Cabinet member believe that the level of engagement is sufficient to claim the strategy reflects the views of local people? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Whilst the numbers might seem relatively small, that is quite a good engagement for this kind of activity. And in summary, the online responses were very favourable in agreeing with the strategy proposed. So I think it was a thorough, and we went out many, many times to try and get more, but we can always do more, but it's getting people to respond, which is difficult. So if you can ever get any of your residents to respond as well, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And I've got a second question, if that's okay. So the report tells us that the actions will be contained in a future partnership plan rather than the strategy itself. Given that councillors are being asked to approve a 4-year strategy tonight, why have members not been provided with the delivery plan at the same time so we can properly assess how these priorities will actually be achieved? At the moment, it feels a little bit like a framework without much meat on the bones.
That's exactly what it is, Councillor Johnson. This is a statutory community partnership. So it's the 5 partners who, from this framework, will then set the strategy. So that's the police, the fire, the integrated care board, or whatever's going to replace it, probation, and ourselves. And from those, we have various work streams, and from that, we will set the strategies in line with those 4 themes. Thank you.
If there's no more questions, any comments?
Thank you, Chair. No one in this chamber disagrees with the broad ambitions set out in this strategy. We all want to tackle crime, antisocial behaviour and serious violence. Yet we hear time and time again from our residents that these are the issues that matter most to them. But this so-called strategy has no plan for delivery. It will deliver little more than a press release that this council can pretend it is doing something, when in reality nothing will change. Day in and day out, our residents see the consequences of that failure. They see the nuisance motorbikes tearing through our estates. They see shoplifting and disorder in our town centres. They see repeated antisocial behaviour that makes people feel unsafe in their own neighbourhoods. And yet the Labour Party opposite seem to see this as just another opportunity to virtue signal and claim that they are taking action when in fact they're not. We all know that tackling crime and antisocial behaviour means being clear about what we actually do and being honest about what more needs to be done. Local Conservatives have been very clear about what real delivery would look like. It would mean recruiting community warden in every neighbourhood with a clear job to identify antisocial behaviour hotspots and work directly with the police to deal with them quickly. It would mean expanding CCTV in our town centres to deter shoplifting and use modern tools like drones to respond to the nuisance motorbike problem our residents repeatedly raised with us. It would mean supporting neighbourhood watch and speed watch groups so communities themselves can identify problems and work with the council and police to solve them. Those would be practical steps, those would be visible steps, and residents would start to see the difference that they would make. Because if nothing changes, for 4 years from now, we will still be dealing with the same antisocial behaviour and the same problems in our neighbourhoods. And that's what should have been in this plan. That's what would actually make a difference to make our communities safer. For 4 years from now, when nothing has happened, this strategy will have achieved nothing. Because in the end, our communities won't be made safer by strategies and press releases, councillors patting themselves on the back. They'll be made safer by action, action on the ground. And action is the only thing missing from this plan. Thank you, Chair.
So no more comments. Sorry, Councillor Wallace.
Thank you, Chairman. In this strategy, it says that a set of indicators will be developed to monitor the implementation of the priorities, identifying key dates to prepare these products. I'm not quite sure what the products are. I think it would be helpful if, instead of just seeing this strategy, every 4 or 5 years, a progress report could be presented to full council so that we can see in the interim how the what is being achieved, how the priorities are being implemented, and what positive action is being taken, and for us to see the benefit of our residents what the results actually are.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Tommy Maguire.
It's very easy to criticise. Very easy. It's very easy to be in opposition. At the end of the day, you talk about the number of people who respond to the survey. There's an old saying, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You know, and if so many people are dissatisfied with what is going on in North Tyneside as far as community safety is concerned, why do they not fill in these forms? They're online, they're all there. So there's a lot of criticism, but there's no positive solutions that come out of it. And there's no use shaking your hands, Councillor Bones, because, for example, you mentioned drones. The police use drones to track people on motorbikes. However, there is legalities linked to that. And in order to have a drone up, you've got to have a policeman following it at a certain distance. You know,
Councillor, thank you.
You know, at a certain distance. If you look at the police and crime panel and you look at the statistical analysis on there, you can see the issues in North Tyneside are a lot less than what they are in our neighbouring boroughs. You know, so, I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to residents really to come forward. Never mind whinging on the keyboard warrior stance, which majority of them do, and then you never see them at your surgery. But they'll knock a thing out on a keyboard and it's there on Facebook or it's there on WhatsApp or whatever. But at the end of the day, they never come and actually face to face. Very good at complaining, but never actually do anything about it. And they could do something about it by simply filling in a form, whether it be online or be paper form. And this happens not just in this particular committee, it happens right across consultation, across the council. Your party criticises us every time, and it's back to that old saying, you can't take a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink.
Thank you, Councillor. Any more comments? Councillor Douglas Corrigan.
Thank you, Chair. A property in Churton Grange recently had a closure notice served following its links to persistent antisocial behaviour, drug abuse and violent offences. Councillor Graham was quoted in the Chronicle story saying that the council will continue to take action wherever it's needed to ensure our neighbourhoods and streets remain safe and secure for everyone. However, this closure notice took a number of months despite multiple residents reporting the issues. Being subject to a single violent offence on your street would be distressing, let alone months of persistent antisocial behaviour and drug abuse around a property which people had already reported to the council. The priority for my area is to ensure that when properties are identified as causing such serious offences, closure orders can be obtained more quickly than over a number of months. I would appreciate if the Cabinet member would take this forward to the partnership and return with a plan to expedite such actions, which I'm afraid is missing from what we've been presented with today. Thanks.
Councillor Lilly.
Thank you, Chair. Just briefly, when the future partnership plan is developed, will the Cabinet member inform us of how measurable outcomes will be used to gauge progress in the future? And as Councillor Wallace says or suggests, would it not be beneficial for us all to have an annual update? Thank you.
Councillor Montgomery.
I wanted to say about what's happening in Chitton in terms of antisocial behavior. Action is being taken. We've had meetings, and there's crime prevention committee that are actually meeting. I am the deputy chair of secure subcommittee. Action is being taken. People, I think the mayor and other officers, we were there. We went to the house to talk to the victims, and the people and the police were all over trying to help. And also the motion that has been moved with regards to allowing the police officers to actually being able to remove balaclads. So I don't see why you will be saying that there isn't anything that is happening, because actually there is. Thank you.
Councillor Carl Johnson, right, sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'll let Councillor Graham respond to the point tonight. So, I think once again we sit here in this chamber where Councillor Burns pretends he's got a plan, but once again it is just shouting from the sidelines. Last month, the group officers had their chance to put a budget forward and actually fund some of these things, and once again they chose not to. More meaningless shouting from the sidelines instead of actually planning to do something for their residents. Chair, I'll let Councillor Graham respond to the antisocial behaviour items.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. Just make this very clear, this is a draft strategy with 5 responsible authorities. It's not just the local authority. This lies with the police, the fire brigade, the probation service, the integrated care board. So from this draft strategy, we'll then write up and get together with a full partnership plan. And that partnership plan will be deliverable and will be delivered. I don't know which planet you've been on, but you get an annual report every year from the Community Safety Partnership listing what has been happening. So there is that as well. We know that our antisocial behaviour is lowered compared to comparative authorities. It is very, very safe place to live. We're rolling out CCTV. You might not be aware, over the whole of the borough, which is groundbreaking digital images. We've tried to bring speed watch in, but residents aren't interested in taking part in that for obvious reasons. All sorts of things are going on. So, you know, to come in from the sidelines and say those things is really unfair. And I don't think Councillor Bones, you listened to my reply to Councillor Johnson, where I told him exactly what it was, you know, that it is a partnership. It's not just the local authority. And with the closure orders, you have to have evidence, and very detailed evidence, to go to court for a closure order. So you have to be very, very careful to get this evidence, and it's clear and it is correct, and it is from people who are willing to put their name to something. And it's very difficult to get that information, but I'm very pleased that we've done that for the residents that live there. They are absolutely delighted, and they understand the barriers that have been in our way to do that. Crime prevention is a big part of what we do as well. And if you just come along to the June meeting is an open meeting. Do come along and listen and hear what goes on. You might have your eyes wide open. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. So we now move to the vote. You want the electronic voting system, or yes? Yes.
Can all members please vote now? If all members have voted, close the vote now. Forty-four.
That's 44 and 8 abstentions.
Sorry. I think I switched one.
We're going to reset the vote tonight.
Can all members please vote now?
On now.
Is it on? Okay. I'll close the vote now if all members have voted.
The vote now is 44 and 9 abstentions. That makes the record carried. Next item is the chair's announcement. I would just very briefly like to thank all the members for the last 12 months. It's been an honour to sit up here. Not always easy, but because obviously there's this last meeting before the elections, and some of us have maybe choosing not to come back. Some might not be able to come back. So I'd like to thank everybody in the chamber tonight. Thank you. That brings us on to item 8. Can I ask the elected mayor if she has any announcements?
Yes, sorry. Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'd like to begin by offering our sincere thanks to 2 very special people, members of staff who have contributed an enormous amount to North Tyneside over many years. First, John Ritchie, our Director of Finance, who will soon be leaving us to take up a new opportunity as Executive Director of Transformation and Resources at Northumberland County Council. John has been part of North Tyneside's story for a long time. He first joined us on the 1st of March 2011 as Head of Finance, serving in that role until October the 31st, 2012. We were genuinely pleased when he returned on the 8th of August 22, stepping into the role of Director of Resources. He brought back with him not only his expertise, but his trademark steadiness, good humour, and a deep commitment to public service. John has supported teams through some challenging moments, and he's always kept our residents and, of course, our finances at the heart of every decision. So, John, on behalf of the Council and everyone here, I say thank you. Thank you for your leadership, your generosity, and the difference you have made. We wish you every success and happiness as you take this next step. I would also like to extend a huge and heartfelt thank you to Eleanor Binks, who will soon be retiring from the authority. Eleanor began her service with North Tyneside in September 1980. Over the years, she has taken on a number of important roles, becoming Service Manager, which was providing services, in April 2010, then Assistant Director in April 2019, and most recently stepping into the role of Director of Adult Services in October 2022. It's fair to say that Eleanor has dedicated over 4 decades to supporting our communities and improving the lives of our residents. Her career has been defined by compassion, consistency, and an unwavering commitment to care. As Director of Adult Services, Eleanor has provided clear and thoughtful leadership, guiding the strategic direction of adult social care, champion prevention and independence, and ensuring that some of our most vulnerable residents receive the support they need and deserve. Eleanor has been a key senior leader in shaping how we respond to the changing needs of adults and carers in our borough. Her work has helped strengthen safeguarding, support carers, and build services that enable people to live well and with dignity for as long as possible. Her dedication has been felt not only across the authority, but by partner organisations, community groups, and countless families whose lives her work has touched. Eleanor, we are deeply grateful for everything you have given to North Tyneside, and we wish you a long, happy, and very well-earned retirement. So to both John and Eleanor, a big thank you. You leave with our respect, our gratitude, and our very best wishes for your future. Thank you.
Councillor John Johnson, do you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. Just to follow on from what Mayor Clark said tonight, as leader of the opposition group, I'd like to place on record our thanks to both John and Eleanor for their many years of service within the local authority. John, I'd like to thank you personally for the time you've taken to help me better understand the complexities of local government finance and the challenges that come with it. I wish you every success in your new role in Northumberland. It's certainly their gain, and I've no doubt you'll do a fantastic job there. And Eleanor, what a fantastic story. To join the authority and work your way up to become head of service is a tremendous achievement. You are retiring at a real high point in your career and should be very proud of everything that you've accomplished. I also suspect that you've both shown remarkable patience over the years dealing with councillors' emails. often sent late at night and expecting an answer first thing in the morning. I hope you have a wonderful retirement, Eleanor, with plenty of time to enjoy yourself and a well-earned rest. Thank you both for your service and the very best of luck to you both in the future.
Mayor Clark, would you like?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'll continue with my announcements. Since we last met as a council, I've continued to meet with and engage with our residents, businesses and community groups right across the borough. Over the past few months, I've held 4 neighbourhood listening events on Saturday mornings at the Beacon Centre, Parkview Shopping Centre, the Killingworth Centre and at the Forum in Wallsend. These sessions have offered our residents the opportunity to speak directly with me and members of my cabinet to share their thoughts, concerns and ideas about the services we deliver as a council. I've also had the opportunity to spend time visiting some of the fantastic organisations, groups and projects that make North Tyneside such a vibrant place to live, learn, visit and work. This has included a visit to Tyne Metropolitan College, where we discussed potential opportunities for increased collaboration to support our residents to gain the education and skills they need to access good job opportunities and improve their life chances. I also had the pleasure of visiting the Wallsend Sea Cadets, an organisation that supports children and young people aged 10 to 18, helping them to develop confidence, skills and take advantage of opportunities. It was inspiring to meet both the volunteers who run the Sea Cadets and the exceptional young people they support. I also had the pleasure of visiting Wallsend Rugby FC, where I joined the club, including the Sirens, to celebrate England Women's Rugby World Cup victory. The World Cup trophy is currently touring the country and its first stop was Wallsend Rugby FC. It was great to see the Women's Rugby World Cup up close and in Wallsend. Great inspiration for women and girls rugby and for sport across our area. I also visited Wallsend Boys Club and Wallsend Girls Club, as it's now called, to view their fabulous facilities and discuss future plans they have to expand facilities and provide further support for residents across the borough. It was lovely to meet some of the residents who've recently moved into the new homes on Norfolk Street and Stevenson Street in North Shields. I'd like to say a huge big thank you to those who welcomed me into their new home. They shared personal stories and told me how absolutely delighted they were to have a beautiful, secure, affordable home in the heart of the amazing town of North Shields. Describing this as a life-changing experience, it was really heartwarming. I say a huge thank you to our partners, Carbon Homes and Addiston Group, for their work on this. I was also delighted to join Mary Glindon and ward councillors and friends of Segedunum at Segedunum Museum in Wallsend to plant a sapling from the Sycamore Gap tree. Thank you to Ken and the friends of Segedunum for making this happen. And when considering International Women's Day celebrations, which of course took place on the 8th of March with the theme Rights, Justice and Action for All Women and Girls, I visited 2 women's groups. One was called Here and Now, Doing Something, better known as HANDS, a women's group which is based at St Columba's Church in North Shields. The group's been running since 1978, providing valuable support to women in our borough. Second one was Sewing for Ourselves, Others and the Environment, better known as SOSO, a group of local stitchers who meet at North Shields Community Hub and Library and currently have their embroidery work on display at that venue until the 27th of March. Really beautiful creations from this group of very talented local women. It was a pleasure to attend the opening of new premises at Lane, which is Lifelong Ability North East and Wallsend. The charity supports individuals with physical disabilities, learning difficulties and autism. I would like to say well done to Daniel and the team. The new building and facilities look amazing. In addition to the visits and events I've mentioned this evening, I continue to meet regularly with businesses across the borough, particularly those driving forward growth in our green and offshore energy sectors. Their innovation and ambition are helping to shape a more suitable and sustainable future here for North Tyneside. And as the North East Combined Authority Cabinet Member for the Home of Green Energy Revolution, I'm pleased to say the Regional Mayor's Plan for Green Jobs is on the Cabinet agenda for next week at the Combined Authority. That plan sets out the ambition to create an extra 25,000 new green energy jobs by 2035. adding to the existing 25,000 we already have in place across the region. Green energy is central to the North East Local Growth Plan and to the economic growth and job creation here in our borough. We've seen another milestone for the borough with the opening of the Northumberland line, the first national rail station in the borough for many decades. Since passenger services began on the 15th of December 24, the line has already seen over 1 million journeys, which is an incredible achievement. The official opening of the 5th station at Northumberland Park provides an important interchange with the Tyne and Wear Metro and bus services, gives direct rail access to Cobalt Business Park, one of the biggest employment hubs in our area. And of course, we had COVID-19 Day of Reflection. On the 6th of March, we came together at Silverlink Biodiversity Park for our 2026 COVID-19 Day of Reflection here in North Tyneside. It's difficult to comprehend that this month marks 6 years since the pandemic began in the UK. Here in North Tyneside, every community was touched by loss. We remembered neighbours, friends, colleagues and loved ones, and we honoured their memory. It was an opportunity to reflect on the extraordinary dedication of our frontline workers and volunteers and all those who stepped forward to protect our most vulnerable residents, and their courage will never be forgotten. And finally, Chair, I would just like to say thank you to elected members who are standing down in May. I'm aware of only 2, which are Labour members. I'm not sure if there are any others. If there are, I don't know about them. But in any event, I would just like to thank any member who is standing down for both your dedicated service to the residents of North Tyneside. I wish you every success in your next steps. And to everyone else, I would like to say I wish you all the best in the up and coming local elections, which will be held on Thursday, the 7th of May. Thank you.
Thank you. So all that remains is for me to thank you for your attendance. This meeting is now closed. The next meeting will be held on Thursday, the 21st of May, 2026. Thank you.